Are you looking to build like are you looking to spin up your own thing or is
Yeah,
this like a school project or
definitely. So that's where the engineering comes into play. So I'm trying to design like a prototype right now during my entrepreneurship capstone. It's designed to fight wildfires because, as we all saw, like in January, the Los Angeles wildfires for a pretty large amount of time were vastly uncontrollable. And I feel like I want to find a solution to help not only like with future wildfires, but also firefighters in general. So I've been working on a design there. But
what?
and then like I also for like graphic design, I do a little bit of graphic design work. So I started a company. It's called Sketched, but
Mhm.
it's just basically I do a bunch of freelance graphic design. If you have like any types of ideas, it's mainly like to help young entrepreneurs like myself find their like brand.
Yeah. Well, you're talking to the graphic design god right here. So,
Yeah. No, that's awesome.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Also, one other question: Are you from Morgantown, Cole, or where are you from, man?
So I'm originally from Allentown, PA.
Okay. Yeah.
It's about an hour north of Philadelphia,
Hmm.
but I transferred out here. Honestly, came out here on a short notice. I put in an application 2 weeks before I moved in my freshman year and been out here ever since.
Word.
Wow.
Wait, so did you go to school up in Allentown and then you transferred, like middle of college?
No, so I actually transferred right outside of high school and I came right out here, started my freshman year, and I just been out here for a while.
Word, word, got you. And then what year are you at school?
Currently I'm a junior, and
Oh,
then
okay.
but since like with my credits, that's why I added on the three minors because I had so much free time.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, I was just trying to get context
Mhm.
before
Oh, of
answering your
course,
question.
100%. Please ask me any questions, that you have about me. I'm happy to answer them.
Yeah, dude, I love
Yeah.
the shirt you got rocking right now too.
You gotta rock it a little bit professional. I didn't know if you guys were dressing up. I was hoping you weren't, but
Oh no,
like,
dude,
Yeah.
I think the professional stuff is honestly, I mean, that's why we do the business that we do is
Yeah.
to get away from that, to be honest. But
100%.
yeah,
Well,
yeah,
to start it off, I just want to say thank you to you both for joining the call on like such a short notice. I know like I put in the meeting Monday, I asked you guys, and then like you responded so quickly. So I want to say thank you for that. But all right, so question number one. In terms of like the business structure, what agreement do you both currently share concerning the ownership of Brite? Do you guys have like a sole proprietor, an LLC agreement? Like what type of agreement do you guys have for your stock?
yeah. Well, I guess how we'll answer these. I mean, how do you want to do it? Like, I'll rattle something off. You add, vice
That's
versa.
perfect.
Yeah. So whenever we first kicked things off, we did form an LLC because of just like the sake of simplicity. And so, like, I guess a little bit about our journey, like, very long story short, whenever we were still college students, um, in undergrad and engineering, we were just, we did some internships and, with like Lucas did some stuff with what Airbus and
Yep. Did the whole engineering route. Like we were all deep in the rabbit hole, man.
I saw like on your LinkedIn profile, you had a couple
yeah,
of of things.
yeah, deep in the rabbit hole of like research and like internships. But what we found from that was like it really just didn't satisfy our needs. Like it just, I don't know. It just, I'm a big advocate of like trying a little bit of everything,
Mhm.
seeing what you're passionate about, and then ultimately, just doing the thing that you feel pulled to do. And so for us, we were just like, it was our junior year, and what your senior year, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And so we were just like, hey, what would happen if we just try to spin something up? Like, so we met another founder. His name's James Carnes. He is co-founder and CEO of Iconic Air. Happy to make that intro too. But he was kind of the one that opened up the door to entrepreneurship for us because we didn't even know it was an option. So like he raised $5 million for his company.
Mm.
He got his company to like $1 million in ARR. It's like a software startup that helps like oil and gas companies monitor their carbon emissions. But after having that conversation with him, I kind of just like, allowed us to be like, holy crap, like let's just give this thing a go. So we did some business competitions. We ended up winning some funding from that, and that's where this ties into your question.
Mm,
So to accept the winnings from those business competitions, like we won like 70K and while we were still in school, um, we had to be a legal entity. So that's whenever we formed the LLC, just for the sake of simplicity. But since then, we've actually brought on investors, and so we just raised our first round of capital. So, but in order to do that, you have to issue shares. So
mhm.
now we're a C corporation, and basically, what that looks like. I mean, I don't know if you're concerned with like
Oh, I'm
diving
following
in,
you.
diving into the weeds of like how to actually set that up.
Hmm.
But does that answer your question? I guess you also had the question
No,
about
that 100% answers my question.
you
I
also had
also I love how you spoke about that though, like forming the partnership, how you guys also broke off into the LLC. Because I was wondering, like for myself, because I had considered, doing like sole proprietor, and I had gotten told, like the liability on a sole proprietor is you don't want that liability. So like I was always like wondering into like LLCs, and I love how you talked about transferring it over to like a C corp, because
mm,
like a C corp, that's somewhere where I want to start looking into more. So I'm happy that you pointed it out for me because like I could
yeah.
definitely use more information in that area.
Well,
And he basically laid out the whole playbook. It's
yeah.
basically that's probably the simplest way you could do things is start out with an LLC. It costs like $100. You could do it in like a day, and then you're a registered business. And then once you finally get to the step of investors, because there's a lot of lawyers and paperwork involved in a C corp, it's not something you want to start out with on like day one, but eventually it becomes the right move to make.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's definitely more complicated, so do the easiest thing first. But dude, I guess well, are you generating revenue right now with like your freelance stuff or like whatever you want to set up? Because
Yeah.
honestly, you might not even need to do that at this stage. Like, um,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I've made like some sales like through Sketched. I've done some graphic design work, but it was mainly like through family and friends. But
Yeah.
I have worked like a startup company before. It was a farm stand. It was a family again. But like I remember doing sales and like how that all transferred over, but I didn't handle that part. So that's why like I was trying to like learn a little bit more about it. But definitely I wanted to ask you though, for like getting that patent or getting that LLC, you said like $100 you would put down. Where did you go for that? Like a website or did you have to go in person?
Oh yeah, I can send you the website. So I guess you want to register the business in West Virginia or Pennsylvania?
Um, for me personally, I guess that's the hard part. That's why like I'm not really like too focused on starting a business right now. That's
Mm,
why like I want to do more learning. That's why I was considering about getting, the engineering degree. It's just because like I did want to give myself some time before I started a company. But like learning from you guys, it seems like you guys got the ball rolling right after college and just haven't looked back since. But like I do have a few more questions concerning like Brite because like I
yeah,
did look into your company and I find it remarkable.
sure, yeah, yeah.
I was gonna ask, like, since Bright is relatively new to the market, what do you both envision Bright could be in like the next 5 years?
Well,
That's a great question.
very timely.
Yeah, very timely indeed. Right now, we're going through a bit of a pivot where
Mm,
originally we were kind of like a reward app, which is always had kind of like a bad vibe to it. And so we're trying to switch up to something that could truly like go viral in a school, get everybody talking about it. And then once you get there, I mean the opportunities are endless. That's what Nate's been on and on about lately is, like, oh my gosh, we could do this afterwards and we could do this. Like there's plenty of exciting opportunities. And right now we're just trying to figure out the problem of get people to like the app and tell their buddies about it.
Yeah, and I guess also Cole. So, um, something important to know. I know that like the website, we don't really describe it there or anything, but um, so what Bright really does is we help universities understand why students drop out or why students stay, just so schools can better retain students and save money. And so the way we do that is like Lucas talked about, every single day, we engage with students through like, these daily check-ins to uncover their student experience. And then what we do with that data is it helps guide schools with a lot of their like retention initiatives so they can make changes, so
mm,
they can help individual students, all these things. So really what we are, we're like a data consulting company, right? Like a school comes to us and they say, hey, we don't know why our students are dropping out. We don't know what these students love or what they hate about our school. Our company Brite comes in, we engage all of the students on the app, we collect that information, and then we let them know, hey, here's your biggest issues, here's what students are saying, and here's how to solve it. So like in that sense, we're kind of like a data consultant. Um, but again, it all comes down to the method of engagement that we use on the app to really resonate with like students. So like Lucas was saying before, we were doing um, kind of like these kind of like gamified and reward type, incentives. But now we're kind of switching that up to go more the social route. But I guess in the next 5 years, what we're doing is we're starting there's so in entrepreneurship, there's something called product market fit. Okay. So product market fit, I'm sure you've heard in your classes, like it's basically whenever your shit is flying off the shelf faster than you can restock it. Like, spread virally, universities telling others universities about it, like word of mouth growth. So like we haven't achieved that yet. So like we're like really we just want to achieve product market fit in higher education. So like our target market are institutional partners. But we have a two-sided market because we also deal with students. So after achieving product market fit in the next year, after that, we plan in the next 5 years to potentially expand horizontally, so into other markets. So basically capturing, we've been told that our platform and our data could be useful in a variety of different industries like healthcare, and everyone needs feedback at the end of the day.
Of course.
Uh, so potentially expanding horizontally into different markets, or even like starting to explore other revenue streams like advertisement, partnering with companies like Red Bull to like feature ads on the app, just different stuff like this. But, that's pie in the sky stuff. It's
Mhm.
way down the road. Like
Of
you really,
course.
whenever you first get started, you have to start like so small and so niche. Like even what we do today, like it's not what we did 2 years ago. Like it's completely different because you basically just have to start somewhere, and then over time, you just change shit over and over and over again. It's like you make a guess, you try the bare minimum, thing you could do, and then you basically just make changes. And over time, it just evolves into something that people love. But you won't know that unless you ask people, and that's something we still struggle with to this day.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah. It really is the only way to figure out this whole entrepreneurship thing. Because I did the minor as well. And they teach you a lot in the classes about like kind of the fundamentals. But it's, you really take a giant leap once you actually start doing the thing in real life. Like,
Mhm.
dude, we messed up so many times. We've made so many, fools of ourselves in front of hundreds and hundreds of people, I'm
Yeah.
sure, at this point. But, we'd never be here today without being a fool, learning from it, and then doing something new as a result.
Yeah. Yeah, we started in drone technology actually. Um, and then we pivoted to it was like a feedback tool for professors. Like the big problem we were trying to solve was like professors and their students were disconnected in class. So it's like what if a student could give their professor feedback every single day and like have a voice in the classroom. Well, then we tested that, it didn't work. Professors didn't use it, students didn't use it. Um, and that's after we built the software. Like we've spent time and money to build that out, and it didn't work. So then, we pivoted. We started doing stuff with like course evaluations, like SEIs, if you're familiar.
Yeah.
Didn't work. Pivoted. We started doing pilots with like the WVU School of Nursing and School of Dentistry.
I was
Uh,
gonna ask, yeah, did you like partner with the university?
yeah. So whenever we started off, it was again we started super niche, and then it just changed.
Mhm.
But after many pivots and many changes, like right now we're just like starting to generate like a pretty significant portion of revenue. I mean, it's still not significant to our standards, but it's a start. So we're locking down partnerships with 5 different schools, um, like literally like signing the
Of
contracts
course. I
this
mean, you
week.
got to make a single sale to make 100,000 sales, you know? It all starts with one.
Yeah, I mean it just depends on like what industry that or like what type of business you want to build. So like we're a B2B company, so we sell to businesses, business to business. But we're also consumer facing B2C in the sense that we have students to deal with. So like we do sales and marketing,
Hmm.
Um, but some companies are just B2B, some companies are just B2C, and it really dictates your strategy. But the way we make money is the school pays us, and then we get students on the app, and then we basically sell that data for a good cause.
That's awesome, dude. No,
Yeah.
100%. That is awesome. Did you guys this is like along one of my questions, but I was gonna ask if you utilize like Vantage, the Venture Vantage program offered by
Mhm.
WVU,
Yeah, yeah.
or
So
like Ignite, because I heard you say like you did pitch competitions or you did competitions, you were winning money. And I was
mhm.
trying to like wonder what competitions were you like doing? Or like how were you like marketing yourself to get, the people to recognize, your brand and what you guys are trying to capture with Bright.
So the answer to both those questions is yes. Um, we started off with Ignite. It actually used to be called something different whenever we did it, but so that was our first business competition, and that's so we initially won $40,000
Mhm.
with here's the thing, nothing but a slide deck and a plan. That's it. Like
It was a PowerPoint.
we had no product, and we won
See, like for
40,000.
me, that's like that is crazy because like I used to go to the pitch competitions all the time just to like watch them, gain feedback, just to understand, how people go out and market their brand and how like, they're getting their business out there and they're trying to promote it. I always thought like from the best pitches that I watched, I always thought that you needed to come in with like a product or something, like that you had like to show for. But that is awesome because you're saying like you ran with a pitch deck and like you, I mean, I'm assuming that like you had a good way to capture the audience, like through your speech, through the student retention and the cause that you guys are trying to solve.
Well, it wasn't even that. So investors and judges and competitions or whatever, they don't they don't fund ideas. They fund traction. So every single like you have everyone has the what's in it for me mentality. If you're a judge or an investor, you want a significant financial return. And is the only way that happens is if the business has traction, potential customers, etc. So you want to go into these pitch competitions saying, hey, we even though we don't have a product yet, like we're about ready to roll out this MVP. We've already made verbal agreements with like potential customers. They're literally waiting on this product to be built. And so, investors and judges, they see that and they start getting FOMO. They start getting fear of missing out because they're like, oh shit, these guys are actually building something really cool. They're getting ready to build something really cool. But most importantly, the market wants it. They've proven market demand. So that's where, like, in our first pitch, we went out and we were like, um, hey, we have verbal agreements with the WVU School of Nursing and all these different professors. They're literally lined up. We have a wait list. We just need your capital to deliver on this promise.
You did
And
the actions before, you said everything that you did. So then you had the results, to speak on.
right.
Yeah. And
I
even
see
in your
that.
case,
You also made you made great connections. I mean, WVU, the partnership that you got, I mean, I wouldn't even know where to start, at least like for me.
yeah, and for you, there's definitely opportunity, like even before you go get a degree, for example,
Mhm.
like talking to people that work in these counties or talking to the firefighters, seeing like where their actual problems lie. Like I don't know how deep you are into your
Mhm.
idea here, but really making sure that it's what they want, and then, dude, like you might not even need a degree at that point because you just hire somebody, you have all this money because they love your idea so much. Like I remember one of the pitch competitions the year before us, they had something similar where it was like some detector for fires or whatever.
Oh yeah, at
Yeah,
TCU.
at
Yeah,
TCU,
yeah.
and they ended up. I don't even think they had much of a product yet, but they talked to these guys that own like hundreds and hundreds of acres out in Montana. These like logging guys,
Mhm.
and they're like, these logging guys are literally begging to buy our sensors or whatever, and they're like, we need your $40,000 to go build them. And so that's what they did, and they ended up winning, taking home all like $20,000 or something,
Yeah.
just because their
And
idea was so solid with what the people want.
that's super valid. And to answer your question about Vantage, it kind of ties in with that. So we did the Vantage Ventures program. We got $100,000 investment from them. Uh, but the thing that Vantage Ventures preaches, every single business idea is just a hypothesis at the end of the day. Like it's just a guess. You're basically going, is this a good idea? And so like our first idea failed, our second idea failed, our third idea failed, but they didn't fail because they got us closer to where we are
Yeah,
today.
consistency there. You
For
learn from your mistakes.
Boom. Exactly.
That's it.
So it's pretty much like your idea you have right now, it's not going to be what you have in 2 months tomorrow.
Right.
It's just like basically going out and testing it as quickly as possible. Trying to either sell it or see what people think, learning about the market and the industry space. And then literally just making these small tweaks over and over and over and over and over again. So hopefully that's helpful.
Nah, dude, dude, that was a fantastic response. I only have like a couple more questions. I just wanna This is pretty simple. I was just gonna ask how many like employees you guys have. I'm assuming it's you, him, your partnerships, correct? So it's you guys and like the partnerships that you form.
Yeah.
'Cause you're selling to a company. You said business to business. So
Mhm.
I was wondering how that necessarily like worked out.
Yeah. So the short answer is there's three of us co-founders. There's another guy upstairs
Oh
right
yeah,
now.
sorry, my fault.
Yeah, no, dude, you're totally good. He's the smart one of the bunch. But he's writing code, and then we've actually hired someone right after graduation to work alongside him as our founding engineer. So the spark notes of it is there's four of us, and Nate does all the sales, so he's actually handling like the B2B, emailing universities all day long and getting their thoughts and making sure that what we're doing actually helps with them. I do a lot of the design, especially for like the app, of trying to make it something that the students want, and then Craig, the third guy, and then Will both write code to actually make it happen and bring it to life.
You basically answering the next question I was going to ask you because I was going to ask you like with building the app. I guess apart from that, I guess I could ask you this. So with the app itself, how do you respond to like the updates? Like how do you guys updating your platform and how do that those updates kind of affect how you guys are currently doing your procedures?
Yeah, that's a good question. We always try to keep a long-term vision, at least some sort of direction that we want to go towards, or like a key metric to follow. But honestly, it really works in about 2 week. I don't want to say sprints. That's like corporate, but it's like a 2 week, really hard work on the next update. And while that one's finishing up, you're basically prepping the next one. So we're never getting too far ahead of ourselves, and we're always like, take a step back, see what's the most burning fire or the most important thing we could change right now, and head in that direction instead of like some people lay out a plan for the next 2 years, and they're like, all right, we're doing this update, this update, this update. But truthfully, you don't know what's going to happen a month from now. And
Hmm.
so you kind of keep that long-term vision, I think, while you really focus on, just what's currently at stake, and then you iterate or pivot or move from there.
Hmm.
I don't know. Do you say anything else?
You pretty much covered it. I mean, actually, our CTO, Craig, he was just bitching at us literally yesterday. We were trying to plan too far in the future, and he was like, I mean, I'm not even joking whenever I'm telling the story. Like, he was like, guys, we can't over engineer this and overbuild this whenever we don't even know what people want. Like, again, it comes back to everything that you do is just a guess, and you have to go out and you have to see if people want what you build, like, or whether it's software, whether it's a fucking t-shirt company,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like it doesn't even have to be, it doesn't have to be software per se.
You gotta get the community behind you.
Exactly. Yep. So
Hmm.
he was literally like, "Hey, let's do the smallest version of this right now. See what people want, and then update it." So like always fact checking your decisions with your users, with your customers, with universities, with students, whatever that may be.
Hmm.
Um, so
I
yeah.
under- I see like especially how important that would be for a retention app, you know, that you guys are working with students. I could see how important it would be to utilize the feedback from your customers and implement that into the app. I would I guess one of the other questions I would ask you is what skills serve to be the most useful during your journey? I know that you both are engineers, so I was wondering how like the engineering came into play, and I was wondering just like overall, would you say like networking is the biggest skill?
Dude, engineering is bullshit. Any degree is fucking bullshit.
Mm.
Um, Sorry for not being formal in that sense, but the number one skill that you can have, number one, resilience. Just don't give up. Like it's doing it, building a company or doing entrepreneurship or whatever. dude, I think it was Elon Musk who said it. It's like eating glass. Like
Mm.
it is it's ridiculously hard. Like again, you're going to fail over and over and over again, like we talked about. You pivot, 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 but it's resilience because you just don't give up. It's showing up whenever you don't want to, getting on that sales call whenever you don't want to. But like those small things over time compound, and those small pivots and small tweaks compound. And so it's literally just like pain and suffering, and you have to embrace that and you have to love the process. And it's easier said than done. It's kind of cliche. But I know that you want to go out and get this engineering degree or whatever's next, but like that doesn't it doesn't that
You
won't
don't need it. Yeah.
you don't need it, dude. Like will it teach you how to learn? Sure. But
Mhm.
you know what else will teach you how to learn? Just doing
Yeah,
it.
yeah, just getting the experience going
Just
out to the workforce.
yeah.
I
I
get
guess
told that all the time. That was like my last question to you guys because I was gonna say like the last question. I am considering like studying aerospace, and I was gonna ask like, how did that help you? Or like how would it help me in a sense? Like at least for me, I think that it would help me, like you said, get more knowledge, understand, the mechanics more, understand the overall design. Because like you asked me where I was going, like within my company, within like my design. I am trying to do it all. So like I'm trying to build a whole design. I started with a prototype. I'm working right now on coding it. I started with an Rudio, but like you gotta start somewhere. And like I guess like the one thing that I overlooked on that I learned from this call, networking. Like I would always, in a sense, get a little bit worried about sharing ideas because like I don't know, I just would. But
mm,
like it seems like if you go out and you really like capture an audience and you really like show them a solution to a problem that we are facing that you can make money through if I would go to a pitch contest. But like if I did study aerospace, coming from an engineering standpoint, how beneficial was that for you?
Actually, real quick before we answer that,
no,
could
it's
you
okay.
give us the spark notes on like what your idea is or like the product itself, or at least where you want to start
Hmm.
at?
Well, Spark Notes, I kind of just like do everything by hand. So like I kind of just like write all my notes out. I kind of like draw all the diagrams out. But like
Like the general like concept that you're
yeah,
trying to.
yeah. So like the general concept is like basically in January, I was thinking like I wanted to challenge myself going into this capstone from entrepreneurship class and like to be blunt, the Los Angeles wildfires were huge at that time, and I wanted to find a solution to help solve that problem because I couldn't go out there. So I started looking towards measures that could be a safety precaution in the future and things that could implement like a burn line. So I started studying and just researching. I started with research and like that's where I've been at because like I started testing a lot of things. So I started building a design and like I got it to like do what I want to do, but it's not doing like to the point that I need it to do. It's a little bit hard to explain. Like it's so much easier. It like hold up.
There he goes. Yeah, I have something to say about the networking
Yeah.
piece too, because I feel I didn't really get to the networking piece, but because I mean it has helped us, dude. Like
Oh,
I mean,
absolutely.
it's been everything.
It's
Like
the whole reason
Brad,
we're all here, like
yes, yeah,
us and
money,
Brad,
yeah,
like everything.
yeah, yeah.
Excited to see this thing.
He's on Bev. That's awesome.
Okay, this is a little bit easier to explain. It looks a little bit crazy right now, but it's like it's a
Oh,
It's a
he's
hell of a
big
breadboard.
design. Yeah,
oh,
it's just like from sunflower, right? So like you take some from there, and like what I wanted to do was I wanted to use that to move this box. And this box, I like cut it out. These are all the emission holes. So like what I did was I took apart a fire extinguisher and like I realized how a fire extinguisher works and I want to implement a design starting with that concept because that's something that we already use as a solution. And basically, yeah, I started branching out from there. But like I made like a serpentine tube in here off of this and then it's funneled down here and I got the same reaction. So I've been like working on just the overall design concept. So I haven't really been marketing it out and I haven't really been trying to build a network, but after this conversation, I mean, I used to think that you had to get it running before like you would go out and try to get an investor or talk to anybody. So I guess that's where I was struggling.
interesting. Yeah, no, so if I guess like an order of operations. if I could go back in time and restart, um, I think the order of operations I would probably follow, because you asked about network, and I want to answer that too. I know I didn't really get to the network part.
I know I'd be rambling off sometimes too, because I was like asking you so many questions at once.
No,
You're good, man.
no, you're totally good. That's what it's all about right there. But yeah, I think that if we were to go back and restart from scratch, um, obviously, like the first thing is identifying a problem, which you've done, right? And it can't. I think something that we learned is like a lot of people say, "Oh, building a company is all about solving pain points or solving problems," but it's like this. It can't just be a problem. It has to be like I mean, for lack of better words, a hair on fire problem is what we call it. Literally fire problem. So like everyone has a to-do list in their mind. Everyone has whether it's conscious or subconscious, they have um they have a to-do list, and whatever's at the top of their to-do list, they're trying to get from point A to point B. But they can't get from point A to point B because there is something that's blocking them, or it's too hard, or they don't have X, Y, or Z. Well, that's where you got to identify what is their top goal, what is their biggest problem preventing them from accomplishing their top goal, and how can I develop a solution to get them from point A to point B. So, number one is identify that top goal and their problem by talking to people, like Lucas was saying, talking to firefighters, talking to whoever, talking to a fuck ton of people. Customer discovery is what we call it. And then um, step two in that process is literally like building a fake solution. So what that means is before you ever touch a line of code, if you're coding or construct something physical, if it's physical or whatever that is, just like fake it. Like literally like
Mm.
take like 2 seconds or like 20 minutes or whatever and build a graphic and show a fireman like this device and it says this can do X, Y, and Z for you. Is this something you would pay for?
Mm.
Or try out for a little bit. And ultimately that's how you can gauge demand on if your idea is actually good or not, is
Mm.
if people say yes I would pay you for this, or no I wouldn't, but it doesn't even exist yet, and that's okay.
Mm.
Because then after what you've done is after you've tweaked it a couple of times, you've had these conversations, then you can basically get paid for something that doesn't exist. And then you can go out and you can use that money or to actually develop it for real. So like in our case, in the past literally 4 weeks, I'm not even bullshitting you, we just sold a product that didn't exist. So like to universities, we like developed this new like data report for schools. Dude, I mocked it up in like an hour and like this graphic design software, and it doesn't even exist. We don't have it. But that confirmed the market demand, and so now we're going to go make it. So again, step one is really just like finding a goal and a problem. Step two is talking to people. Three is like this fake solution, getting paid for it, and then you actually build it
Mm.
and then you deliver it for them. And so like that process saves you time, it saves you money because you're not building the wrong thing at the end of the day. Um, so I don't know if we could
Dude,
start
I'm
from
not gonna lie, that helped a lot. That helped a
yeah,
lot. Because I
yeah.
see where you're at, and I see exactly like what you were trying to explain to me. But
Well, because a lot
you
of
know,
a lot
you don't need all the pieces. Like you don't need to do it all yourself. Like for me, I used to think that you needed to come up with the example, build a design, that's why like I started studying into like how do you build this stuff, and then like I started learning, and I it's not hard, you just got to put time into it. But you're right. Why are you wasting time building a design before even getting confirmation that it's a
useful.
gonna make a sale, that's
Exactly.
gonna do anything for anybody.
Yeah, and that's part of the thing with engineering too.
Mm.
Well, I know you're trying to go at it solo, but I just want to put the idea in your head of finding an engineering co-founder that's already like been through the ropes. Like for example, my capstone for the aerospace or the mechanical engineering was the University Rover Challenge, and it's these guys that are literally, dude, they're dogs and they build robots like for fun all day. They're like complete robot nerds, and that's their life, and they love it. And it was a part of that. It was crazy to see because, dude, these guys are all in on building robots. Like that's their life. And I think with aerospace, like I've been through the degree, and I think there's a lot of things that wouldn't apply to you, to be honest. Like
Mm.
there's a couple classes that I think will be good, but I don't know if it's worth 4 years of
fucking
jet
pain.
class and propulsion and rocket class and propeller class,
Shear flow.
shear flow. Like there's, I think like maybe 10% of it might actually help you like speed up and get through this business.
But what would be like, it just depends on what your goal is and what your success criteria is.
Right.
Like, if your success criteria is to become an aerospace engineer, then become a, you should probably do that. But if your success criteria is, hey, I just want to like learn and grow and start something, dude, I can give you a playlist of 5 YouTube videos that gave me more than an engineering degree ever did. Um, and so like you can learn more just by like being curious and trying a bunch of shit than like actual sitting in a classroom like learning about hypothetical stuff that doesn't really matter. But I guess to your point about networking too, um, it is definitely very important. I don't think you should make that your goal though, because it's something that kind of comes naturally. So like whenever you're doing cool stuff, people want to know you. And then whenever that happens, then they make introductions and so on and so forth. So like for us, we were working on a cool project that, we were starting to get some traction. People saw that. Our James, who I mentioned earlier, like that other co-founder, he introduced us to this person, and this person opened up a door. And then, this person introduced us to an investor, and that opened up a door. But like that should be the last thing on your mind is like, network and all this, stuff. It's really just it comes back to FOMO, the fear of missing out. If you're doing something that's so cool, and if you're like actually solving big problems for like potential customers or whatever that is, through getting connected through Vantage or whatever, it will naturally have like a ripple effect. And like people will be literally pulling you in all directions saying, oh, I got to introduce you to XYZ. Like right now, having this call, guess what? I see that your brain's turning, your gears are turning, like you're thinking, like, I'm like, well, dude, he's doing cool shit. He just whipped out this Arduino and Raspberry Pi or whatever that was. Like, okay, Ryan Angus would be a great person. He's like,
Yeah, I got told about Ryan, and
yeah,
I mean, I reached out. I should, actually do that program, but I don't know.
You
Sometimes,
did.
dude, I appreciate the call though, because I learned so much off of this call. Because I'm not gonna lie, sometimes with the aerospace, like I wanted to really do it. It's not, and I think the reason for it is why not? It always comes back to like why not? But like if I was trying to start a company, I don't necessarily need it for the company.
Yeah, and that's the question is like, what's the opportunity cost?
Hmm.
You'd rather spend 4 years trying and failing and trying and failing and then eventually building a great company, or
Hmm.
4 years getting a degree and then pushing off the company bit. Like obviously you could do both. Um, but yeah, you definitely, I think, be well suited to just start as quick and as small as you possibly can. Like even today, like there's moves you can make today to help push yourself in this right direction.
Well, I think you guys answered all my questions. Do you guys have any questions for me?
um, I think that we can see ourselves in your position because we literally were not that long ago.
Very true.
Like, dude, it's really weird to be honest with you. And so, we're happy to share our experience where it's helpful because we learned from the people who came before us, and that's ultimately what helped us grow and mature as a company. Blah blah blah. And and so, like, any experience that we can share. We're not perfect. We don't have everything figured out. A lot of people like to think that they're all cool and they have their shit figured out. No one really does. There's always the next problem to solve at the end of the day. But yeah, I mean, any way that we can be helpful as you're navigating. Obviously you got our emails and stuff. Um, so feel free to if you want to schedule a call whenever you want, man. Like more than happy to help because that's what people did for us, and so it's only fair that we pay you back.
Yeah, definitely. I'll probably bounce a few emails off of you in the future, just
Yeah,
asking some questions. But
yeah,
I appreciate it so much, both of you guys. I mean, I could not have asked Logan to set up a better meeting. I mean, she basically said, these two guys, they started a company. I'm pretty sure you'll like them. And I mean, I looked into Brite a couple days, like I said ago. And like after having this conversation with you guys, I'm definitely going to be looking into the future with what you guys do with it.
thank you, man.
And I definitely will reach out about like some questions that I have on my journey myself. But like,
Yeah,
I appreciate it so much. I really do.
yeah. Yeah, anytime, anytime. I mean, that's what we're here for, and yeah, I mean, always happy to, like I said, jump on another call or whatever that may be. So you let us know how we can be helpful, and in the meantime, I can send you like a couple different like videos just to like think about, and that could be good.
I I would definitely watch the videos if you send them. I appreciate them.
Yeah, yes, sir,
But
yes,
yeah,
sir.
all right,
Um,
man. I'll see you guys. Good luck with Bright.